Okay, welcome to the spins and turns section of my intensive. So the first thing I'm going to talk to y'all about is spotting. So spotting is used for a couple of reasons. One, it makes our dance look sharp, and two, it allows for us not to get dizzy in our dance. And the third reason is it can give us better direction so we don't fall out of the slot. Now when you first start spotting, you can actually get dizzier because we are not used to it. So let's try these drills with me. You're going to put your feet together and face me. Now you're going to rotate your body either direction and keep your head facing me as long as possible. Then when you can't go any farther, you whip your head around and then continue your body. So the first drill is a pause, a head rotation, and then a go. Let's try that the other direction as well. So keeping your eyes on me, flip the head and go. Now the more and more you do this, notice how my body is not really stopping and going. So the next step is to turn, flip the head, and keep the body going as we turn. Other direction. So now, as we spot into a turn, the goal is to maintain eye contact direction either with our partner or where we're going in the room. Now, lots of times when we dance, we're not in a studio like this with good lighting. We're in a low light situation, in a bar, a club, at a convention. So one of the tips here is always spot, move, and lights up. So for example, an exit sign. If you're at a convention and you see an exit sign in the corner and you're moving that direction, be like, oh, I'm spotting that exit sign. Don't spot an object that can move, a car, a puppy, another dancer, unless that dancer is your partner. Okay, so now let's talk about spin frame and something called the hand last placed versus styling. So in spin frame, and I'll face this way and Tess, you can face me, we're going to take our arms up into our natural frame and we're going to round slightly and bring our hands just below the height of our heart. Now, the closer our hands get to our chest, this is not going to be good for spinning because not only does it make your elbows pointier, so if Tess did this while I'm spinning her, she would probably hit me right in the nipple. Right in the nipple. Okay, so we want to keep our arms farther out to make more of a rounded focus. This is not just good for balance, but it's also good for protection for your own being. Now, because we dance in such tight quarters, we can also do the I Dream of Jeannie, which means instead of being here, we're going to put a hand under an elbow and a hand over an elbow like you're blinking and making stuff happen. So as you can see here, the arms are much closer. So for a demo, if I give Tess, let's say a double outside roll, let's go with natural spin frame first. Notice how she passes right by me and doesn't hit me. When I go behind the back, she's actually able to place her hand as a track on my back. So watch this super slowly. If I have 1, 2, her arm can brace against my ribs, and so as she travels, not only is it for spins, but it's going to be saying, hey, here is my partner and here's our connection. So it's multi-purposeful. Okay, so that's for our spin frame, and then for the I Dream of Jeannie, I'm going to give Tess a free spin. When she does I Dream of Jeannie, notice how I can get really close, and so close that her hair can get in my face. Now, when we have our spin frame, so Tess is in spin frame, and let's say I have my hand on her back and we finished a spin. Look how easy it is for the arm to go over and drop down to our natural frame height. Yeah? So if I bring her, let's say a flip to whip, and I bring her into a whip, spin frame, and it goes right over the top. Watch it from this side. I go one-ended to spin frame and over the top. Let's say Tess spun with her arms down. Arm goes down, and it's stuck here, and she can't get the arm over, and she has to do more work. Now, most injuries happen to me personally in this dance from a follower when they try and bring their arm up to come over. So I'm going to bring Tess to this angle. Now, as I bring Tess into a whip, spin frame or not, if Tess chose to raise the hand first to bring the arm over, it would have to be done as an intentional styling that does not get in the way of the leader. Otherwise, all she has to do is shrug her shoulder up, then the elbow can come up, and then she can breeze right over the top of the arm. This is like the spoiler on the back of a car. It has a purpose. It hugs the car closer to the ground. It's better connected, and it's the most efficient way of moving. There's no reason to do this when we can do this. All movement as well comes from our core. So instead of starting the movement at an extremity, we can start from the shoulder, then the elbow, and the extremity is the last thing. Now, we have our spin frame. We have the I Dream of Jeannie spin frame. Those can be used anytime you want, leaders, followers, etc. Now we have something called the rule of the hand last placed. If I took Tess Minnick and I put her hand on her hip and I put her hand up here and I create like a little teapot, and I did this on purpose during the dance and I spun her, I would expect that hand to be there because it was there with an intentional purpose for the music and for the partnership. But there is also a time when you can say this is an awkward position and you can choose to move yourself out of it. For example, if I bring Tess into an upper wrap and I keep the hand on her shoulder, when I release her into a free spin, she could bring the hand down if I did not ask her to bring the hand down. But if I want her to keep that hand last placed here, what I can do is after my check, I can push down just slightly to concrete that hand to her shoulder. So when I spin her, I know it's going to be over here, so I can get it somewhere else. That slight down pressure says, please don't release the hand from the rule of the hand last placed. Now the final thing for spin frame is styling. So with styling, you're welcome to break all the rules as long as you don't break my nose or my nipple. So followers, leaders, when you're spinning, if you bring the hand up, the goal is to keep everything within our ears. So I can bring a hand up and a hand down. I can bring an arm up and an arm down, but I try and keep everything tight so we don't hurt our partner. Now there's one more place where spin frame is really important. Tess, I'm going to bring you back to here. When I go into a whip with a free spin or an outside turn, from here, if Tess were to drop her arm down and I were to try to spin her, this would break my wrist and her arm. This is not good. Leaders, when you are dancing with someone socially and they do that and they drop their arm, let go with your hand and try not to lecture on the floor, hey, you're doing that wrong because you're a bad person, because we take that stuff very seriously. No teaching on the floor. But from this position, if Tess were to go to, well, show me your spin frame, and now show me your spin frame, right? The hand can go right over the crest of the arm, and that punch not only is good for balance, but it's going to help power your spin. So watch this. 1 and a 2, 3 and a 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Followers, remember, and well, leader, everyone, don't release into the spin frame before the spin actually happens. If Tess were to release early, 1 and a 2, 3 and 4, she thinks she knows what's happening, but I don't even know what's happening yet. So this would be a great way for her to communicate to me and say, this is what I want, which would be to go that way. So followers, you want to wait until that actual impact, the lead is there, and then the hand can come across and snap your turn while you spot. Now, while Tess is here, let's go over spotting with our partner. So as a leader, let's say I go into a free spin, I see my partner, I spot, I see my partner, I re-engage with my partner. As a follower, I'm going to give Tess a traveling turn. For an outside turn, a clockwise turn, it's going to be easier to spot down the line. So when she turns to the right, she's going to spot down the line and then spot back towards her partner. When this rope comes down, she knows the turn is ending. Same thing for behind the back. She's going to be spotting down the line, and that gives her that perfect, straight, beautiful line. On an inside roll, it's easier to spot your partner. So for counterclockwise, 1, 2, Tess can spot me and me, especially when she goes into that beautiful angle of torque right there, and then we can finish with our anchor. So again, she's spotting me on an inside turn. It doesn't mean you can't spot your down the line on an inside. It doesn't mean you can't double spot. I'm just showing what the most efficient is.
I broke your heart, then you broke mine. So I guess the punishment fits the crime. But baby, I've been thinking lately that I've done my time. So I'll say a fond farewell, and what the future holds, well, nobody can tell. But at least I learned a thing or two from living through this hell. Well, kept on running, and I kept on coming when I should have been leaving. The funny thing is I still believe in us, but I've been shaking like a candle in the wind, and I've been acting like a stranger to my friends, and I'd do anything to get my fix, but I've got to kick this addiction. You become my heroine. Now I had hopes that you were coming around, but you get me high, then you let me down, and for far too long I have played this clown. So this game of cat and mouse is coming to an end, 'cause I'm sick and tired and can't pretend. Baby, I don't wanna be your friend. Well, you kept on running, and I kept on coming when I should have been leaving. The funny thing is I still believe in us, but I've been shaking like a candle in the wind, and I've been acting like a stranger to my friend. What if we were lost at sea on a boat, just you and me? No cell phones and no society, and the world just let us be. We could sleep all through the morning, talk all through the afternoon, and dance all night under the silver moon. Oh, yeah, yeah. I feel your body sway, I'm lost at sea. Your waves come crashing over me. Lost at sea. Oh, oh, oh. I'm lost at sea. I'm lost at sea. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Me and you, yeah, just us two, sailing off into the blue. I only wanna be the skipper if you'll be my crew. We'll find places we never knew. Then we'll sleep all through the morning, talk all through the afternoon, and dance all night under the silver moon. Oh, yeah, I feel your body sway, I'm lost at sea. Your waves come.
Again, this is for leaders and followers. We're going to show you pivot turns and chaîné turns. These are both great ways of traveling down the line in order to get farther from your partner, whether you're led or not. So let's start. Tess, I'm going to have you start on this side. We're going to demo the pivot turn first. So as you watch Tess do the pivot turn, notice how there's a step, a pivot, a step, a pivot, a step, a pivot, a step, a pivot, right? Great way to have a straight line down the slot. And just like earlier in this intensive, if we don't do triple steps in our dance and we just go walk, 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 that's similar to the pivot turn. Walk, 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 and walk. All right, so now we have our chaîné turn. Check out Tess and Minnick's chaîné turn. She comes down the line and collects, down the line connects, down the line collects, right? So this feels more like a triple rhythm to me. So it goes like this. 1, 2, triple step, triple step. Now, if you watch closely on Tess's feet, I'm going to break down the chaîné for you. We have a step. We have a step forward, and then we're going to bring the feet together in order to now step. That's left foot forward. Then we have right foot committing weight to the right, and then we step left and then commit weight to the right. And that's in our anchor. The other direction one more time. We have step onto the right, change weight onto left, step onto the right, change weight onto the left, step onto the right, change weight onto the left, etc. Now, it's not just for the followers. If I lead my partner, let's say, into a left side pass, and I hit her on a hard stop here, then I can choose to spin by with my pivot or my chaîné as I travel down the line.
Okay, so I'm going to break down some chaînés and pivot turns to you, but I'm going to use more of my practical application. There's a lot of training that I've learned for this that's very formal, but also I've found some different ways that in an actual social dance or a competitive setting that might work for you. So the first one is just our basic pivot. When I'm doing any kind of, and actually even if I'm not doing like a full turn around or a turn and a half, I'm constantly pivoting on my feet so that my feet don't get stuck in this position. So even if it's just a basic underarm turn, I want to pivot my feet. So it looks something like this. Walk, walk. I'm really using the three-toe base to pivot and turn more efficiently. Now, if I'm doing a full turn around, let's say I'm doing just an underarm turn, an inside roll. 1, 2, this is even more important. I'm pivoting off of my standing foot and onto my new standing foot, which I'll then pivot again. Pivot and step and pivot and step. So you can kind of get away with some side steps. An exercise for this would be kind of like, I always imagine Mission Impossible 3, I think. I don't remember which one it is, but like Tom Cruise is against the wall, right? And then he like has to flip over, he doesn't have any ropes, and he flips over again. Flips over again. So that's kind of a fun exercise you can do just for your pivot turns. You'd be surprised how often people don't pivot their feet on their turn, and you end up with like that inside look. So when I'm doing this, I can take side steps to pivot my turn, which does create sort of a wider length that I'm going to be turning for. So the other option that I use a lot is a chaîné turn. And basically, the way I differentiate these is just bringing my feet close together or stepping in that side action. One more thing that's really important for a chaîné turn. So let's talk about a chaîné turn for a second. Here's just an exercise taken out of the dance perspective, like I'm dancing with a partner. What I try to do as an exercise is point my feet in the direction of the turn. What tends to happen to people is as they turn, is they don't make it all the way to the next direction, so you end up taking a side step. It's not so bad if you're going to continue pivoting, but it's usually a less efficient way to dance. So here's what I like to do. Here's my exercise. I'll step. I'm going to close my feet using spin frame. This helps you get around. So I'm kind of punching across. And then before I take this next step, I'm going to turn myself just a little bit more so that my foot's pointing in the direction that I want to turn. So here's the exercise you can do. Step, turn, point. Step, turn, point. Step, turn, point. So if I'm dancing this, like say in an inside roll as a follower, it might look something like this the other direction. 1, 2, step, I point. So if I add some timing, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6. Something like that. The key points being pivoting is mostly a side action, and chaîné turn, I want my foot pointed in the direction I'm going to go forward, and I close as I turn.
I broke your heart, then you broke mine, so I guess the punishment fits the crime. But baby, I've been thinking lately that I've done my time. So I'll say a fond farewell, and what the future holds, well, nobody can tell. But at least I learned a thing or two from living through this hell. We kept on running, and I kept on coming. When I should have been leaving, the funny thing is I still believe in us. But I've been shaking like a candle in the wind, and I've been acting like a stranger to my friends. And I'd do anything to get my fix, but I've got to kick this addiction. You become my heroine. Now I had hopes that you were coming around, but you get me high, then you let me down. And for far too long I have played this clown. So this game of cat and mouse is coming to an end, 'cause I'm sick and tired and can't pretend. Baby, I don't wanna be your friend. Well, you kept on running, and I kept on coming. When I should have been leaving, the funny thing is I still believe in us. But I've been shaking like a candle in the wind, and I've been acting like a stranger to my friends.
So let's talk about the three-toe base. I was going to show you on my hand, but it makes more sense just to show you on my foot itself. So as I take my shoe off here, you can see my big toe, my second toe, and my third toe. These two are irrelevant for right now. If you find a line where these three meet, it's right here on your foot, or on my foot. And the ball of the foot's here, and the three-toe base is here. It's a small difference, but it's an important difference. So most of our weight on our spins will be here on the three-toe base. Doesn't mean the rest of your foot can't touch the ground, but most of our weight is here and not right here. So when I dance and I'm putting my weight on what most people call the ball of the foot, I'm not actually stepping on the ball, which would most likely break that part of my foot, but it's just to the outside of that ball, and that's where my foot is resting. If you have any dance shoes that have a spin sole, which has that circle on what we think of as the ball, that's actually the three-toe base. So we're going to try some balance drills now using this three-toe base. So you can mirror image me and stand on your left foot. I'm standing on my right. And instead of having the weight on my heel, I'm putting that weight on the three-toe base. Now we're going to commit to that foot, and we're just going to hold. Then we're going to go onto the other foot, three-toe base, commit, and hold. Now, the drill is to close your eyes and try and maintain balance on that three-toe base for 1 minute. Then we're going to do the other side. Weight on your left foot, close your eyes, and hold this balance for 1 minute. You'll know a minute is up because the music will stop. So settle your weight onto your right foot and go.
Trouble, sweet trouble. I got trouble on my mind. Trouble, oh, trouble. Lord knows it's the only thing I seem to find. Trouble to the left, trouble to the right, trouble in the day.
Nicely done. Now let's switch feet. So go ahead and put your weight on your other foot. Hold your balance and cue the music.
Trouble, sweet trouble. I got trouble on my mind. Trouble, oh, trouble. Lord knows it's the only thing I seem to find. Trouble to the left, trouble to the right, trouble in the day.
These are drills that I put into my own personal workout. So when I'm lifting weights or doing cardio, in my reps, I will have one section of this is my eyes closed weight balance, and in the gym, I will just stop, set a timer on my phone, and I play with my working leg as I try and hold the balance. But what really ends up happening, it looks like this. I'm like that. You can also do this balance drill just on your foot and any part of that foot. It doesn't have to be the three-toe base. So I'd recommend you trying these drills a lot. So now let's talk about solo axis spin drills. When I was taught this about 20 years ago, I did not follow the advice, and I wish I had, because my spins would be much better than they are now. So I still train these every day, and the goal is to do 10 in a row of each drill. And if you mess up, and you mess up at rep 2 or rep 9 or on rep 10, you have to start again at 1. So follow along with me, please. Put your right foot forward and your left foot behind. Bring your right arm across your body and your left arm back. And we're going to do a quarter turn on the 3-toe base. Now we're going to reset, turn to our right, and quarter turn 3-toe base. If you notice, when my arms are open, I'm bringing my left arm across, which is helping to power my body as I give myself an inertia push through my core onto that foot. Make sure you allow that foot to pivot so it's not just locked in place. So we're doing another quarter turn and another quarter turn. So your goal is to do 10 of these in a row, quarter turn 10. Please go ahead and pause this video now and give me 10 on your right foot and 10 on your left foot. For the left foot, it's left foot forward, left arm across, right arm back, and we have our quarter turn. If, as you're spinning, you have to put the foot down to stop yourself because you've given yourself, let's say, too much pressure, or if you've just fallen off axis, that's when you would start again. So, quarter turns, both feet, 10 reps each. Here's some music.
Every morning when I wake up, I got trouble in my makeup. It's jumping round my brain, it's pumping through my veins. I got a rumor in my mind, it's crawling on my skin, it's howling in the wind. I know 1,000 ways to die. I need you now, I got a sickness. I take a pill, my only witness. It's tangled in my hair, it's poison in the air. It calls to me at night. It's coursing down my throat, a dark deserted road. It's swallowing the light. Trouble, oh, trouble. I got trouble on my mind. Trouble, sweet trouble. Lord knows it's the only thing I seem to find. Trouble on high, trouble that knows, same old kind from long ago. Trouble for miles, trouble for days, trouble in 100 ways. I got trouble, trouble, my mind.
Now it's time for the half turn drill. So if I'm facing my logo, as I start my turn, I'll be doing a 180. Then I'll reset that again and 180. So both feet, 10 each. I don't expect you to get this, but I expect you to try. Here's a minute of music.
Every morning when I wake up, I got trouble in my makeup. It's jumping round my brain, it's pumping through my veins. I got a rumor in my mind, it's crawling on my skin, it's howling in the wind. I know 1,000 ways to die. I need you now, I got a sickness. I take a pill, my only witness. It's tangled in my hair, it's poison in the air. It calls to me at night. It's coursing down my throat, a dark deserted road. It's swallowing the light. Trouble, oh, Trouble on high, trouble down low, same old kind from long ago. Trouble for miles, trouble for days, trouble in 100 ways. I got trouble, trouble, my.
Now we have the 3/4 drill. So for the 3/4 drill, if I know I'm starting facing my camera, my right arm is across my body, my left arm is back, I'm going to end up facing whichever way my right hand is pointing. So when I go into the spin, still not spotting, I should maintain my balance on that 3/4 wall. I now know my hand is pointing towards my logo, so I'm going to spin and land on my logo. All right, right foot and left foot, 10 reps each. See if you can make no mistakes. Don't mess up no. See if you can do this 10 in a row, both sides, please. Here's some music.
Every morning when I wake up, I got trouble in my makeup. It's jumping around my brain, it's pumping through my veins. I got a rumor in my mind, it's crawling on my skin, it's howling in the wind. I know 1,000 ways to die. I need you now, I got a sickness. I take a pill, my only witness. It's tangled in my hair, it's poison in the air. It calls to me at night, it's coursing down my throat, a dark deserted road. It's swallowing the light. Trouble, oh, trouble. I got trouble on my mind. Trouble, sweet trouble. Lord knows it's the only thing I seem to find. Trouble on high, trouble down low, same old kind from long ago. Trouble for miles, trouble for days, trouble in 100 ways. I got trouble, trouble, my.
So the goal is that if I can do a half turn, that same amount of power with a spot should get me all the way around. Most people try and go into a turn and they go, lots of power, but it's not necessary. The same way if you're a golfer, you'd have a club and you'd have a stroke with that club. You would change club and do the same stroke, but it's going to go farther or higher because of how the club is based. This is what your spot does for your dance. So if I can do the power of a half turn, and then I do the power of a half turn with a spot, that should take me all the way around. Yes? Let's try this out. Go ahead and face me, right foot forward, left foot back, right arm across, left hand back. You're going to start and end facing the television. So I'm going to spot my TV and coast into that full turn. Did you have your spin frame? Did you hold your balance? Right foot and left foot. We're working on a spot with a full turn. Here's some music.
Every morning when I wake up, I got trouble in my makeup. It's jumping around my brain, it's pumping through my veins. I got a rumor in my mind, it's crawling on my skin, it's howling in the wind. I know 1,000 ways to die. I need you now, I got a sickness. I take a pill, my only witness. It's tangled in my hair, it's poison in the air. It calls to me at night, It's coursing down my throat, a dark deserted road. It's swallowing the light. Trouble, oh, trouble. I got trouble on my mind. Trouble, sweet trouble. Lord knows it's the only thing I seem to find. Trouble on high, trouble down low, same old kind from long ago. Trouble for miles, trouble for days, trouble in 100 ways. I got trouble, trouble, my mind.
So now let's talk about breathing in terms of this spin. Now, I'm going to put my hand on my shirt to show you from a distance what's happening right here in my solar plexus as I breathe out sharply. So if I breathe out through my mouth, which this will pop out right there. So go ahead and touch your own body right here. And as you breathe out sharply through your mouth, feel it contract. Feel it pulse. The goal is to now do that pulse without breathing hard through your mouth. The reason for that is in a partner dance, we don't want to breathe on our partner when we're this close. Therefore, you flex the muscle, flex the muscle. Now, what does this do for you? Well, when you initiate a turn, it gives me X power that I've put into the turn. The spot will help bring me around, but I think of this motion as a nitro boost. I've been watching a lot of race car movies lately, but a nitro boost, it's going to give an extra kick to your spin. So as I move into a spin, if I go, well, that was 1.5 turns. So instead of the same power, it was the same power that I did for a half turn plus a spot, but the breath gave me an extra half turn. So when you're partnering, for myself, if I don't have the stability for my partner, if I bring, let's say, my partner into a right side pass and I'm planning on going to a spin, I don't have any compression to use, I can give myself a double simply by using that nitro boost. As a follower, let's say I'm being put into a one-footed turn and I have 1, 2, 3 and the leader's doing nothing for me, that power is going to give me extra turn radius. So keep that nitro boost in mind.
Meet me at the fountain, on top of the mountain. I'll be waiting for you, I hope that you will come too. We'll have some fettuccine, but that's not what I mean. I get a little sidetracked when I try to think back to another time when a lemon was a lime and up was down. El ser humano, más humano. Pero en mí estás pensando. I don't have a car, we walk along its story. Up above the rooftops of the houses and shops together, you and I and a little yellow lion. Step through the cool night air, pretty people everywhere. Tomamos un mojito, bailamos un poquito. I get a little closer until you tell me no, sir, but you never say it. Seems you wanna play this game with me, too. The most human being. But is it me you're seeing? And as I walk along my way, a piece of me is still far away. But there's a little man on my shoulder who, as I'm getting older, tells me never look back, never look back. But I'm wondering, do you see me the same way? I'm wondering, do you see me the same way? I'm wondering, do you see me the same way now? Now we're going for a cab ride, tell each other good night, kissing at your front door, wishing for a little more. I can feel your heartbeat next to mine is complete.
Now now let's work on my favorite spin. This is a spin that I learned from the Carolina Shag dancers, and this is going to look like this. My weight's on my right foot, but I'm turning to my left as I fold my other foot down. So if I'm going to use my breath spin and go into a toe pick, this is what it would look like. So I'm going to break this down for you. Our right foot is forward. We're going to wrap to our right, wind to our right, and as we turn left, make sure your weight's on your right foot. Leave your toe in place, but we're going to go to a turn out position. And as we continue turning, we collect our foot into what I call the toe pick position. If you haven't seen the movie The Cutting Edge, whose main character has a really cool name, you'll hear the toe pick line a lot. Toe pick. All right, so right foot's forward, we're going to wind up, we're going to start our turn to our left, spin frame, picking up that left foot, and our spin will continue. We're going to try the same thing on the left foot. Left foot's forward, left arm across, right arm back. We're going to wind to our left, and as we turn to our right with our weight on our left foot, we collect into a toe pick and hit. So I'm going to put on some music. The goal here is to practice your reverse spins into toe pick. Here's a minute of music.
I broke your heart, then you broke mine, so I guess the punishment fits the crime. But baby, I've been thinking lately that I've done my time. So I say a fond farewell, and what the future holds, well, nobody can tell. But at least I learned a thing or two from living through this hell. We kept on running, and I kept on coming. When I should have been leaving, the funny thing is I still believe in us. But I've been shaking like a candle in the wind, and I've been acting like a stranger to my friends. And I'd do anything to get my fix, but I got to kick this addiction. You become my heroine. Now I had hopes that you were coming around, but you get me high, then you let me down, and for far too long I have played this clown. So the skinny cat and mouse is coming to an end, 'cause I'm sick and tired and can't pretend. Baby, I don't wanna be your friend. You kept on running, and I kept on coming. When I should have been leaving, the funny thing is I still believe in us. But I've been shaking like a candle in the wind, and I've been acting like a stranger to my friends.
So now we have a free foot or a working leg placement. Now the base leg, the leg that you're on, you can work on your up and down motion and your engagement and placement on that foot. But we have lots of styling freedom on our working leg, the other leg. The best stylings are ones that develop. So instead of going from 0 to 60, I want to see the movements in between. What I mean by that is, let's say, Tess, Minnick, can I borrow you? I'm going to put Tess into a one-footed turn. And maybe let's start with like a ronde, and with the working leg, and then we're going to bring it in and then bring it up our leg. All right, so we have a 1 and 2, a 3. Watch her left leg. Nice, 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 nice. Instead of just going right to a passe. So now we can, let's say, have it longer in a ronde, longer in a passe. 1 and 2 and 3. Ah. And that's a really amazing spin development. It's like I'm trying to watch your foot and the camera and everything at the same time. So the ability to progress this foot and do things with it is going to really show off your dancing and hopefully not affect your balance. So when you practice the working leg drills, anything that you do in place, then when you're spinning, that same motion is going to be used. Now, something that we like to do is not have a tail. which simply means we're not going to have our foot behind. However, if you are a big fan of So You Think You Can Dance and other dance shows, you'll notice there are some amazing contemporary dancers and jazz dancers that do this, and it looks amazing on them. So the bottom line for styling and working leg is, if it looks good on you, then you should do it. If it doesn't look good on you, don't do it. Now, how do you know if it looks good or not? Ask someone who has the expertise. If you're not making finals in a competition, maybe that's it, you know, but the odds of this not making it into finals versus this, that can be a pretty big deal. So make sure you pay attention to where your extremities are.
Trouble, sweet trouble. I got trouble on my mind. Trouble, oh, trouble. God knows it's the only thing I seem to find. Trouble to the left, trouble to the right, trouble in the day, trouble in the night, trouble for miles, trouble for days, trouble in 100 ways. I got trouble, trouble in my mind. Every morning when I wake up, I got trouble in my makeup. It's jumping around my brain, it's pumping through my veins. I got a ruler in my mind. It's crawling on my skin, it's howling in the wind. I know 1,000 ways to die. I need you now, I got a sick need.
So now, how do we determine distance in a partnership for certain movements? For example, if I'm going to lead Tess Minnick in a sugar tuck, how does she know how far to go back? We can be so specific in this, it's ridiculous. This is really, really cool. So here's how it works. If I keep Tess Minnick's arm in alignment with her frame on the side of her body, and I bring the hand up, this means her hips are not going to twist as she steps forward onto her three. A square prep here means she's going to step back, then turn into an anchor. So the distance that we would normally dance on a basic sugar push to there is the exact same distance she's going to move back here and then have that turn happen. The farther I prep her connected arm across her body, notice how it makes her hips turn all the way. When the hips turn all the way, this means she is now going to spin in place, and it's my job as a leader to back up to get tension. What usually happens in workshops here, as I show this technique, the follower turns in place, and then the follower tries to back up because they've been taught back up to get to stretch, which is wrong. It's just usual. If you are led to spin in place follows, your axis stays there. You're not expected to go anywhere else. In fact, you shouldn't, because that means you're defying physics that we're trying to apply. Now, what happens if I turn, so let's say I prep Tess, she spins in place. My job is to back up. Now, the next thing happens in workshops is when I back up, the follower comes forward. But instead, followers, when the leader backs up, your job is not to move, but to engage the tension, and we agree with our third partner, the music, on when it's time to come forward. Scrolling. So now, if this says Tess is going to go really far, and this says Tess is going to spin in place, what about all the stuff in the middle? Well, these are percentages and degrees. So if I took Tess's hand and I prepped it, let's say, just onto my right eye, she's going to go back a bit, not as far as her basic sugar, and I'm expected to go back a bit. So I'm scrolling and she's moving. Now, why does this come in handy? Well, I want to know exactly where my partner is going to be because I don't like to dance basics. I like to dance. So let's say I'm going to be moving into this movement right here and bringing my partner back through. Well, if Tess decided that as a basic, she's always going, hi puppy, she's always going to go as far as possible no matter what I lead, I'm not going to be able to get to that movement. Excuse me. At the same time, if I spin Tess in place but I expect her to go back, I'm going to miss her here as well. So this is target practice, just like on the movement mechanisms in the Jackie Chan. So leaders, I'm going to ask you to think about where your partner's body is angled for that ricochet. It's almost like playing mini golf, where you have to bank off like a concrete barrier to go through the windmill. I get to decide what angle Tess is going to be turning so that I know how far back I should go, and we get musical. Now, this also works, let's say, on a passing tuck turn. Tess, I'll bring you over here. If I bring Tess all the way across and prep her here and turn her hips, she'll now spin in place and I will travel away. The goal here, and I'll show you this from the back side, when I bring Tess into a one-footed spin, I do a big prep and I leave her on axis. Once I spin her and the hand comes down, she's not meant to move backwards nor forwards. My goal is to move to create stretch and then lead her. And we use that technique for all the other moves to say, am I spinning you in place or am I making you travel? In college, I played a lot of volleyball. And in volleyball, what I learned in the first week, because I hadn't played before, is when there's a net, you need to take your momentum forward, you need to go down and then jump up to block or to hit. If you don't go down first, you're just going to jump into the net, which nobody likes, and you lose the point. So, with that being said, on a passing tuck turn, if my hand leads Tess down the line, she continues down the line, and we have a flatter turn. And then the opposite end of that would be a sugar push tuck, where I ask her to spin in place and I migrate myself backwards. On a double outside roll, I use the swear in the Bible technique with a pre-lead, and this allows for Tess's turn to be a big travel step versus, I'll start you over here again, versus bringing my partner in. It looks like I'm going to lead her into a one-footed and then say, hey, you need to move down the line, which are two contradictory things. We don't want to do that in our lead follow because it's confusing for everybody. And again, as a leader, you don't have to use your body to integrate with your partner's body. If I wanted to lead with the angle of my hips and show Tess Minnick that I want her to spin in place, that's one way I could do it. But again, with all my work with people who are paraplegics and they cannot move their hips, there's nothing wrong with just moving your partner's arm and shoulder and telling them to spin in place, or allowing them to go straight back in the lead because of the angle dynamic of your frame.
Meet me at the fountain, on top of the mountain. I'll be waiting for you, I hope that you will come too. We'll have some fettuccine, but that's not what I mean. I get a little sidetracked when I try to think back to another time when a lemon was a lime and up was down. El ser humano más humano, pero en mí estás pensando. I don't have a car, we walk along its story, up above the rooftops of the houses and shops together, you and I and a little yellow lion. Step through the cool night air, pretty people everywhere. Tomamos un mojito, bailamos un poquito. I get a little closer until you tell me no, sir, but you never say it. Seems you wanna play this game with me too. The most human being. But is it me you're seeing? And as I walk along my way, a piece of me is still far away. But there's a little man on my shoulder who, as I'm getting older, tells me never look back, never look back. But I'm wondering, do you see me the same way?